Hello, we are back with another Fangirl Fantasy episode. I'm Julie Russell, and today's guest is a social media manager at radio.com, Sammy Rosenthal. Hello.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm good. I'm home as everyone else is. How are you?
I'm good. I feel like I haven't seen you in like 16 years.
I know. I feel like I was just in Boston, but we were there for like in and out, so we barely got to see
And you're
anyone.
in New York City, correct?
Yeah, I have an apartment in Brooklyn, but I'm home at my parents' house right now, so I'm a little out of the city in my basement.
Understood. Jersey, right?
Right, not everyone thinks I live in Jersey. It's not Jersey. It's still part of New York, it's just not in the city. So it's like
Oh,
upstate.
really? I'm bamboozled because I really thought you lived in New Jersey.
Everyone thinks I live in Jersey. People who I've told like 10 times, are like, oh, so you're in Jersey. I'm like, yeah, sure.
We'll just go with it.
We'll go with it. I'm happy to be from Jersey.
So you're at radio.com. You're a social media manager. How long have you been there for?
Since April. So I kind of started this new job as everyone was like losing their jobs. So it was like such weird timing and I was like nervous, but it actually turned out really great. So I've been there for, yeah, since April. It's almost 6 months.
Wow, you secured a job in the industry in the pandemic.
Yes, which is crazy. Like I started the interview process in February. And then like once everything hit, I'm like, oh, like this, they're going to like not hire anymore. But then they actually ended up sending the offer. So it was like awesome, but also weird timing.
So for those who don't know what radio.com is, can you give a little background on that?
Yeah, so it's under Entercom. So it kind of umbrellas a bunch of different stations. We have 1027, we have an alt station, we have country stations. So it's kind of just like the home where all the other radio stations live, no matter what genre it is. So we kind of dabble in every kind of genre and do stuff from everyone, really.
So as a social media manager, what do you do for these stations?
So should we run? I only run the radio.com, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. Sometimes we'll help out other stations, but mostly it's promoting other stations on ours. And we've been doing a lot of Zoom interviews with different artists. We do world premieres of singles, and we kind of just, hang out with fans and react with fans when stuff comes out. So I put gifts up, photos. I'm just kind of running the social media presence and like hanging out with fans through there.
What's your favorite part of the job so far?
Because I feel like once you're a fan, you kind of know what the fans want to see and how they want to be interacted with. So I kind of just like hang out with the fans because I feel like I was there. I still am there, just at like a higher level. So I feel like I just relate to them, and it's fun to talk to them about my favorite artists and their favorite artists.
Because I feel like before I even knew you or you knew me, like I knew who you were because you were an ultimate fan of
Yes.
many different artists.
That's
So
how we are friends. Literally, almost every single one of my friends I've met through a concert or Twitter or like a friend of a friend who I met at a show. It's just crazy how like all your best friends ended up through that.
So you're a major fan of like anybody that was ever on like Freeform or ABC Family. I feel like you've met every single person on that network.
Yeah, Pretty Little Liars was my entire life, but I didn't watch any other show. It was just them. So my whole life dedicated to Shay Mitchell and Ashley Benson, who are awesome. I liked Lucy and I liked Troy, but over the years I've become closest with Shay and Ashley.
Which is crazy. What does that even mean that you became closest with them?
I follow on Twitter, first name basis. And, when you meet celebrities, usually it's just like, hey, can I have a picture? Bye. But, they spend time. I've spent like an hour with each of them at different times. So I like to chat with them more so than worry about just a selfie. But we always get a cute picture in the end. But I like just, catching up and seeing how they are and stuff.
What's your favorite interaction with them?
Oh God, that's so hard. I've had so many with them. One time though, sometimes when they're together, it's super fun. So I think I saw they were like out to eat somewhere and I saw them come out together and it was just fun. I haven't seen them in a long time. So we were just joking, hanging out. They're really funny. Ashley's super funny. So it's always fun. You get to spend time with them and just see what's going on.
A funniest story. I was staying at your house, I don't know, a couple years ago. And Heather, our friend, was like, oh my God, you're so lucky. You're going to go meet Ian. And I, because of Pretty Little Liars, was like, oh my God, I'm going to meet Mr. Fitz. Sam's going to take me on a little adventure to go meet Mr. Fitz. Like, I was so excited. I'm like on the ride. I'm like, hell yeah, I wonder where we're going. Turns out, Ian is your dad.
He's my dad. Not on Pretty Little Liars.
I know, but like she said it as if it was like him. Because I know you, I'm like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to go see Mr. Fitz.
Yep. I mean, we can go see Mr. Fitz. I'm sure he's still around. I think he lived in New York for a while, actually. I met him a couple of times when like the whole cast was here for different promos, but he's cool. We can go meet him.
Okay, cool. Just let me know when and I'll be there.
Maybe after I haven't like really gone out to see anyone in almost like a year because
we're in the middle of a pandemic, so you can't really meet strangers.
I know. And I feel like once, because I used to work like a lot of part-time, like I worked at Popstar, I did like promotion for radio. So I had a lot of time in between to go to different shows and events. But like once you're on that 9 to 5 every day, the time just really gets cut in half.
It's a struggle. It's a struggle. Once you go home, you don't want to leave your house.
Exactly. My friends are like, do you want to go see so-and-so? I'm like, yes, but like, no.
I'm already in the house. We're done.
Already
Sorry.
home, exhausted, can't go out again.
And then another person group you're a huge fan of is Fifth Harmony.
Love. To this day, love.
You've done pretty cool stuff with Lauren Jareggi. You've been a part of some different events, or can you explain? I know you did like what was it, like a date, like speed dating?
Yeah, it was speed dating. So yeah, I've always been a huge fan of Lauren. She was always my favorite out of the group. So obviously I've like spent the most time meeting her and talking to her. So iHeart did this thing, maybe it was like it must have been 2 years ago because she was solo at this time. So they did like a fan speed dating where a couple fans come in, you do like a little question thing, like you're on a date with her. And then at the end, she like picks who she wants to fake date, not real date, unfortunately.
How did you get chosen to do that?
So the girl who runs the iHeartMedia Twitter tweeted like, oh, who's Lauren Jareggi's biggest fan? Like we have something special coming up. And like all my friends are like, tweeted her my name. So I had like probably 100 people just say me. And then so...
Which is true. I don't know anybody that loves her the way you love her.
There's nobody in this world who loves her more than I do. I don't really know her personally, but there's still no one else. So I got picked for that. And then I just had like a list of questions on my phone and we just sat down with her and did it. And then at the end, she picked everyone, which was like, I looked at her, I'm like, really? Everyone? You're going to pick everyone when I'm here. But it was cute. It was super fun. And then she's done like a few solo events. Like that day at iHeart, she had this thing you had to like win. She was premiering her new music video, but she just like put us all on the list because she knew.
Oh, that's awesome. Should we be expecting new music from her soon? Do you have that like exclusive?
Oh my God, she keeps saying, but I don't see it.
I know. I feel like she's the only girl from Fifth Harmony. We're just like waiting and waiting and waiting.
Oh, I know. She's put out a few songs. We haven't gotten like that album from her yet. I thought it was supposed to be this year, but I guess with everything going on, it kind of got delayed. So I'm hoping and praying every day that it comes out.
Also, when you say like you've met them a few times or can you explain where you meet them and how you know where they are?
Yeah, so a lot of times when they're doing promo, they like tweet out where they are, or they'll be like, or MTV or iHeart will be like, so-and-so's coming in for an interview. And like, if you grew up meeting celebrities in New York, you know where all these buildings are, you know how to meet people at these different events. So it's been through there. I mean, meet and greets, obviously you can just buy them to meet them at their show or after the show, or before their show. But once
you are not buying meet and greets.
I used to buy Fifth Harmony meet and greets all the time. Did sneak into a few of the free ones, Clean and Clear. They were on this tour with Demi and they had like a free meet and greet after.
That was a great tour, Demi, Little Mix, and Fifth Harmony.
Yeah, so I snuck into that, but before that, I paid for a meet and greet. So I had 2 meet and greets anyway, so I think I deserved the free Clean and Clear meet and greet.
I snuck into one and I didn't deserve it. One of our friends just handed me a wrist.
It was so easy to get into that, even though we caused a big problem at one point because people were getting caught. But no, I paid for a lot of Fifth Harmony meet and greets. I still would, I don't care. But
do you have any hard feelings towards like Camila?
No, I love Camila. I was devastated when she left. Devastated. I mean, like, I feel like everyone knew it was coming, especially if you went to meet them a lot, you kind of could tell that there was kind of some tension between them. But no, I love Camila. She was always one of my favorites too. No hard feelings at all.
I've met Camila a few times and she always like would remember me. I'm like, girl, I met you 6 months ago. What are you doing?
She's such a sweetheart. People give her like a bad rep. I don't know why. She's like spent 2 hours with fans before just hanging out in New York.
Yeah, no, I've met her a handful of times and I don't have a bad thing to say. I think she's just a little cringy right now. I think she's just going through a cringe phase.
She's a little cringy, but I love the music she's put out. I was going to go see her tour, hopefully whenever it gets rescheduled. Yeah, I'm going to go see her. But I feel like her and Lauren are the only solo ones who I'd really go see.
Okay, understood.
If I saw the others walking down the street, I'd be like, oh my God, hey, like haven't seen you in forever, but...
Like Lauren, old pals, you'd catch up, but you're not going to spend...
Allie's super sweet. She always remembers your name no matter what. Like if I saw her today, I haven't seen her in like 2 years, she'd be like, oh my God, hey, Sam.
That's so funny, but you've also met them literally a bajillion times.
Too many times. Like their first trip to New York after winning X Factor, I was there at the bowling alley where they were giving out cupcakes to fans. Like I was there day one. Even if you go to YouTube and watch that Lauren Jareggi thing, she's like, Sam's at day one. She's been here since the first day. And I'm like, yep, she knows.
That's awesome. I love that you have that. I feel like for a lot of these celebrities that you have met and artists, you have that relationship with them. For
Yeah,
some
I agree.
reason, you like just get into their bubble and they love you because I also feel like you do have that with Kendall from Big Time Rush.
Yes, I used to love Kendall for Big Time Rush. I went to a bunch of his solo stuff once he, broke out with the Big Time Rush, because I've only seen Big Time Rush a handful of times just to see him, because I didn't like love the band as a whole. But yeah, I mean, I feel like the key to that is just being real with them, like not just bombarding them, just talking to them like a normal person. And then I feel like you can make those connections easier. So the next time you want to see them, it's always like smooth and fun, because they're like, oh, this girl was cool. She didn't like do anything inappropriate. Good
Yeah, you
combo.
weren't just in their face with the phone and then you just left.
Right. When I first started, I did have those days where I'd be like, oh my God, I need a picture with you. And that's it. But, like as you go and see these people more and more, it's like the shock factor's over. You're just like happy to see them as like an old friend.
110%. And you want that relationship. I feel like people would want and envy the relationship you have with these people.
Yeah, for sure.
Weren't you a worldwide girl?
Yes. So for those who have no idea what Worldwide Girl is, this Big Time Rush has this song called Worldwide, and they like picked a fan from the audience to come up and sing to on stage. And Kendall, this is before I actually ever met Kendall. So I was just like a random fan in the crowd. I had this sign. It was so polite. It was like, may I please be your worldwide girl? Like something so sweet. No, like nothing obnoxious. And he picked me. So there I was.
It's because you said please.
Right. I was so polite on the sign. So there I was on stage. I looked horrible looking back at these pictures. It was a summer tour. So it was 1,000,000 degrees. I had on this terrible outfit. My hair was like half pink. I was looking back at it. I'm like, oh my God. But it was super fun.
That's like my goal, is to be brought on stage by I don't even care what artist it is anymore.
I was on stage with Fifth Harmony too back in the day.
What did you do with Fifth Harmony?
I don't know. They have this song, Don't Want to Dance Alone, I think it's called. And they would pick fans and just bring them on stage. So me and my friends were just like hanging in the back of one of their shows, just like dancing, having a good time. And they pulled us, they're like, do you guys want to come on stage for this song? And we're like, yes. And it was one of their first tours too. It was like at a small little like club type thing.
Oh, so I've been on stage, and
I've been on stage with the Veronicas 3 times.
See, I don't even care who it is, and those are like your 3 favorite artists. That's crazy that tote. I'm like, I don't care. Just someone bring me on stage. Anyone. I'm super awkward. I'll sit there uncomfortably, but on the inside,
once you're on stage, you're like, am I the star of the show?
Yes, you are totally the main character.
It's so fun. Yes, it's so fun. It's like crazy though, because like you get up there and you really can't see a thing, and it's just hot. You're like, I'm sweating. The light is so bright, and everyone's a sea of black.
Can you not see anybody in the crowd?
You can see like the first row if you're focusing, but like until those lights come on, you can't really see anything else.
So these artists, when they just completely lie when they say, "I see you in the back row."
Yes,
liars.
Except the lights are on, you can't see the back row. But it's sweet that they make those fans feel like they can. I'm all for that.
And then for my purpose, I'm just going to ask you this question.
Yes.
Because you also love The Vampire Diaries, and I've just dug really deep into it during this pandemic, and I've watched it like 3 times since March, and it's 8 seasons, so that's a lot of dedication.
I never finished it, which is really fake of me.
Oh, wow. But Paul and Ian, you have met multiple times.
Yes.
Tell me, are they just as pretty as in person?
They're pretty, but they're not super sweet. They're no Shay Mitchell and Ashley Benson.
What do you mean?
They're just like don't want to be bothered on their day off, basically, or if they're doing press, it's like super busy and they don't like want to just stop. I've had a few good experiences with them, but I've only met them like a handful of times. It was never like a pal thing.
Oh, so they don't know you by your first name?
They don't know me by my first name.
That's disappointing, but it's okay.
Yeah, I mean, they'll stop, but sometimes Ian has been a little snippy, which I've seen.
I've seen like that one YouTube video or the Twitter video going around, and that's cringe. That makes me embarrassed.
He's like that most
of
the time, but I think he's still beautiful and a good actor, so I still like him.
I feel like he just needs to look you in the eyes with those pretty blue eyes, and
he's like so good looking, like chiseled from the gods themselves. Beautiful. Everything about him. Beautiful.
Okay, so I'm going to pretend that I didn't ask that question and that they're still perfect in my mind and they're sweet angels.
You should. One time, oh my God, I used to have these, I think one was mine and one was my friend's. We had these cardboard cutouts of Ian and Paul. And I was just like joking around one time and I like buckled them on my back seat and like took a picture and sent her because I was going to her house. So on the way there, I got pulled over for like speeding or something. And I had these cardboard cutouts like buckled into the back seat because I like forgot to like just like put them in the trunk or whatever. And the guy's like looking in the back seat. He goes, everything okay back there? Like, yeah, just some like posters that are buckled into my car.
Hostages
like,
back there, but they're good. It's okay.
I was like, oh my God. Of course, like one time I get pulled over, I have cardboard cutouts of me and Summerholder buckled into the backseat.
Do you remember the first celebrity you've ever met?
It must have been like the Jonas Brothers or Demi, because I still love the Jonas Brothers, but I was really back into Jonas and Demi back in the day. And Miley too. Like Miley was my first obsession ever, but I didn't meet her till like later on. So I want to say it was the Jonas Brothers actually.
That's I know, and they were so easy to meet. I feel like back then, if you knew where they were in the city.
Yes, I'll give it to them. Like when you waited outside their hotels or outside events, they stopped every single time for every single person. And I haven't seen that with the celebrities since then.
They don't even do that now.
No, they don't do that now. But when they were huge, they did it. They'd come home at like midnight, not home, at like a hotel after like a concert at midnight, and they'd still meet every single fan.
They're just the best. They're the best.
I can't say anything bad about them, even though I know they're not as stoppy and sweet now. I haven't met them in a long time, so I don't really know. But from what I hear, they're not like that anymore.
They're still sweet angels.
Yeah.
How did you get into music and entertainment and meeting celebrities? Was there something that kind of just triggered it that you're like, oh my God, this is what I want to do. This is how I want to follow my career. Was there a moment?
I think it just led from me loving to go to shows. And like those first like Miley Jonas, I'm like, oh my God, I love them. I want to work and like with like basically I want to work with Miley Cyrus, and that's what I'm gonna do. So I did like a lot of internships. Like there was one with teen.com, like I think Pop Sugar I interned out, just like stuff where you'd write celebrity news and like just silly little things like that. And then I got an internship at Popstar Magazine, which I tried to do for like years. And I finally got in because one of my friends worked there. And then I ended up being there for like 2 years, which was super fun. I loved working at Popstar, but it was kind of like up and down because they were selling the company and like they weren't like, it was kind of just like not the best time to get into them. I think they still exist now, but a company in LA bought them. So I stopped working there. But that's why that was like my big break into it. And that's through Popstar. I like interviewed Fifth Harmony. I ended up working with Miley at a show. So it kind of like brought me to the breaking point of my career. And then from there, I've kind of just gone up.
Oh, so you just went full circle when you went there. You got to, what was Fifth Harmony's reaction when they saw you interview them?
They were just like, oh my God, what are you doing on the carpet? I'm like, I'm just working. And they're like, oh my God, so cool. And it was just like it was like at the Halo Awards, I think. So they came over, answered a few questions, like took a picture with our little logo. And then it was super cool.
With Popstar, you do think it's like a teeny bop magazine, like it's smaller, but you do get a ton of access with that kind of press credential. So I'm sure you went to so many red carpets and shows and all of that. What was your favorite work experience? I
think so. 1 year during the last year of Popstar, BLI, one of the radio stations, they had this like summer concert that they do. And they messaged us. I think I reached out for credentials and they're like, actually, like, do you want to come in the press room with us? Like interview every single artist on the bill and then like write a little blog for us in between. And me and my coworker were like, yes. So we were like in the room with them when they were getting these interviews. And that's where I worked with Miley. I think Joe was in DNC at the time. So he was there, Sabrina Carpenter was there, whoever was on the bill we got to work with. And we were just like in the room chilling with them. So I think that was definitely one of the coolest parts that we got. Because like you said, like Popstar used to be huge. So when people see that name, they're like, okay, you can have a press pass.
Definitely. And especially like Joe and Miley, they were the face of it for so many years. Mm-hmm. And then kind of going full circle and it's like 10 years later and they're still getting interviewed
by
Popstar.
Like I used to hang the posters on my wall and then like fast forward, I was the one picking the photos for the poster.
Isn't that crazy?
It's crazy. So it is so like the entertainment industry is so hard to get into. Like I wanted to work in radio for so long and it took me years to finally break into like a full-time role in it. So it's definitely not easy, but I feel like it's.
But I also think once you get into it, it's a small world. It's very hard to get into, but it's also very small, and everybody knows. Like you're working with one of my best friends,
Eric.
So which is super small. He'll like send us like, oh, talking to Sammy today. So I do feel like anywhere you work, you're always going to know somebody by association or know somebody that works there.
Yeah,
it's just kind of when you're first starting out, knowing people, networking, and getting your foot in the door. But I do think once you're in it, it's very small.
Yeah, you definitely. I mean, I know people at iHeart still. I still know someone at Popstar, even though it's across the world at this point. But I feel like you always know someone, and you should definitely reach back into those connections. For this radio one, I actually just ended up messaging the hiring manager, who's now my boss, on LinkedIn. So and that's how I got the job. It wasn't.
Did you apply and then you message them, or did you message them first?
Yeah, so I always apply, and then I'm like, I have to stalk out everyone at this company and message them, because I feel like they get so many like resumes and applications. If you don't make yourself known that you want this position, it's possible you'll be overlooked. So that was like one thing I always did when applying to jobs. And then this one, she's like, this is the radio station I was like a promo assistant for a couple years ago. So she's like, I really like that you reached out to me. I see that you've like worked with the company before. So that's how I got my foot in the door.
Do you think that's what made you stand out from everybody else? Because I'm sure that position got thousands of applications. Do you think that you had the experience at that past radio station is what made you stand out?
Yeah, she said like that caught her eye first. She's like, besides me reaching out to like show that I really wanted the position, she said that definitely stood out to her.
Which is amazing. I do the same thing when I like see a posting or I like apply for a job on a site. I always go and stalk the hiring manager on LinkedIn.
Because it's so hard to get into these huge companies. Like I've had interviews at all different record labels just because I knew someone who worked there. Like it didn't work out most of the time, obviously, because I don't work at a record label. But I've gotten interviews at like some like UMG and like Atlantic, all these big ones that it's hard to do just through applying online.
Because you have to think about how many people are applying for that position.
You look sometimes on just LinkedIn alone, it's like 1,000 plus. And I'm like, okay, well, how many people are applying to the website and like all these other ways to apply? It's insane. Like this industry is.
Yeah, you need to find a way to stand out. You always need to.
Exactly. Julie, who are you listening to now? Like I know who your faves are, but I feel like you haven't talked like new good music.
Okay, I love MGK's new album.
Okay, me too. I never liked him. I never listened to him. And then he did an interview with my company, like a few interviews recently. And I'm like, this guy is funny, sweet, so cute. And I really liked this album. So now
he's definitely just changed. He did like a complete 180 with his style of music.
Yes.
That's definitely right now when I go in the car, that's what I'm playing. I also... Taylor Folklore, I'm still kind of like dabbling with here and there, depending on my mood. I'll like put that on.
I like a few songs, but it's definitely not my favorite Taylor album. And I love a good fall Taylor album. Like I live for it.
Like Red.
Yeah, I've been listening to Red so much.
When September hits, I start playing that.
Me too.
Like I did my monthly wrap. I did my monthly wrap up, and All Too Well was number one. And I'm like, oh, that's weird because I'm not even depressed right now.
All Too Well is always the move. When I saw her on the rep tour, that was my secret song. And I'm like, I deserve that. I really did.
But yeah, I mean, I think right now those are the major two, but nothing, I'm trying to think what I listen to. I listen to the same music over and over again. Like I can listen to the same song 4 times in a row.
My monthly playlists are like 5 songs and that's it. My friends get in my car, they're like, you gotta be kidding. I'm like, they're still good. We have to hear them.
What are your 2 artists right now?
I listen to Fletcher all the time.
I love her new stuff too.
Her. Love. I like her first EP better, but the second one, there's so many good songs on it, so you really can't go wrong. I listen to Lainey. I like Lainey's new album a lot. And I listen to just my faves. I listen to Haley Kiyoko, the 1975, Lorde, just like my go-tos that I always want to hear.
Fletcher's albums, I just feel like she's just like a badass. She's like, you did this to me and I'm going to call you out. And it is what it is. And you're going to pay for it in the song. She's kind of like just a different style Taylor Swift, if that makes sense. I really love her music overall.
She keeps it so real. And she did it with her ex and they were like super open about it. They did everything for the EP together. So I love everything Fletcher does. I think she's so cute, cool, so talented.
She's definitely your vibe. Now that like we're talking about it, she's your vibe. Yes,
I know, to a T. I saw her on her last tour. I think 2 or 3 times I've seen her, and she's just so cool, and she's a great performer.
I've never seen her. Did she do like a small tour?
Yeah, so she opened for Lainey, which is the first time I saw her. It was in Boston, actually. And then I saw that same show in New York, and then she did a mini tour. So I saw her a couple times on that as well.
Oh, so exciting. I'll have to check, because I really do love her music. It's just like badass.
So good. I can listen to it all day. Love. So that's really who I'm listening to now. The usuals plus the new stuff that's coming out here and there.
I do. Yeah. I also I'm excited for Ariana's new music.
I like I've been listening to the single because it's always stuck in my head, but I kind of feel like it sounds like the last one. Like I'm waiting for like a new
You want
sound
a new, like
I feel
a
like
new
it's
era.
always the same vibe. But I like the vibe, but I feel like it's always the same vibe.
Yeah, it's super poppy, super.
Has her runs, has the usual Ariana flair.
Yes. I'm
Yeah.
excited though, because she doesn't ever disappoint though, even if it is all the
She
same.
doesn't. I love Positions. Like I listen to it every time I get in the car. It's on my playlist for this month. So it's one of the 5
It's one of
songs
the
in
5.
rotation that I'm hearing. And Shawn Mendes, Wonder, to die for.
I'm excited too for Shawn Mendes' documentary.
It looks so good. And I love that Camille is in it because, as we know, as we talked about, love her.
I saw a tweet, and this is no shame to Sean, but a fan account. I don't even like. I think it was like a Taylor account. I don't really know. It was not a Sean fan account. It was like, why does Shawn Mendes need a documentary? Like, what is he like? What has he done? And this his fan like tweeted, well, he did this, and this. And the girl replied, goes, well, see, you told it. You could tell it all in a tweet. Why does he need a documentary?
Oh my God, fans are like brutal in like the
know.
standing up for way or the tearing down way. I'm just like, you guys are like the fans on the internet these days. Like when we grow up with like Miley and Jonas, it was never like this. Like we didn't really have social media in the sense that we do now. So I feel like fans are just like crazy.
I mean, especially us. I'm sure we all started Twitter in 2009 because the Jonas Brothers got on it.
Yes, that's exactly when I started.
And my tweets, like I've deleted them all because they're horrendous and embarrassing, but they're all just like, hi Nick, follow me, I love you. Like it was nothing, like I wasn't interacting with anybody. I wasn't tweeting anybody else. Like, I didn't know how it worked. I was just like, hello, pay attention to me. And then I'm following like fake accounts that I think are them. And
I know. That's exactly how I started out too. And then like back to Pretty Little Liars, like once they got on Twitter, they always interacted on Twitter. So I feel like that's also a way. I used to talk to them like on Twitter all the time.
Well, they were always live tweeting the show.
Yeah.
I mean, I think everybody in our generation was super intensely in love with Pretty Little Liars until the end. Because it just dragged on. It's like we did like watch parties in high school and like 9th grade. Yes. But then it's like, why is this still going on in college and we don't even know what's happening anymore?
I know a lot of people are like, oh, I never finished that show. I'm like, I had to finish it. Like, you don't understand the love. Like, I had to finish. I didn't love the ending.
Who's A?
A was Spencer, who was played by Troyans, like what? Evil twin sister from London. It was something so far-fetched, and I was like, this makes no sense.
Did we even know that she had a twin sister?
No, and like they like dabbled in the twin vibes throughout the entire show. But so, like, I guess it was hinting at that, but I feel like they kind of just, I don't know how they came up with the ending, but everyone was like, Spencer's twin sister, like, why is she doing all this? And it was just, like, kind of a letdown, but I still would die for them.
I remember, like, the first season, the first few episodes, I was like, oh, it's him. And it's the guy that played From the Luck of the Irish.
Oh, my God. His name was Ian in the show, I think.
Okay, so him. I remember like, oh, it's him. And then like next episode, he's dead. I'm like, oh, maybe not.
There was like a few A's and I was like, okay, wrap it up. Like, I don't want the show to end, but I need to know what's going down.
Yeah, it just got too much. And it was a little scary.
It was a little spooky. I had a few dreams when A was after me.
Oh, no.
I know. I had to, oh my God. So my girlfriend made me watch It last night. And then guess what I dreamed of?
It.
Yeah, I said, I'm done with the scary movies. I hate them in general, and she loves them. So I always get like roped into watching.
Oh no, I watch Halloween Town.
Yes, and she made me watch Halloween and It yesterday. And I'm like, this is not the vibe. It's not the vibe.
No, I'm afraid of my own shadow.
Me too. And I had a dream about it. And I'm like, done. That's where I draw the line.
That's amazing. So when the pandemic is over, who is the first person you want to see when concerts are back and allowed to happen again safely?
There's so many. Like Fletcher was supposed to be on tour this year. Lainey was supposed to be on tour this year. I had a 1975 show, and I think it was May I was supposed to go to. And they're all just canceled. So really anyone who is touring, I want to be there. I want to see Harry, who else is going to go to the
see Harry.
Show. Yeah, how can you not want to see Harry? So I definitely want to see just my faves. Like if Lauren puts out an album and goes on tour, would love to see her again. Just anyone. I just want to be at like a live show.
And then was there a show that you skipped because you're like, oh, I'll just see them the next time they come to the town, or that now you're just kicking yourself in the butt because you're like, I really should have went and saw them now?
Yes, it was Taylor Swift. I go to every single Taylor Swift tour, no matter what. I was at Fearless. I was at Red. Like I go to every single tour. And for some reason, I wasn't in 1989, and I can't remember if I like didn't have the money for it, or if I like, wasn't around, or I was just like, eh. which is not like me because it was my favorite album. And I didn't go to that. And then I went to Rep, obviously. And I was just like, the one album that was my favorite, I did not go to the tour.
1989 is your favorite album?
Yes. And I always told everyone, oh, it's Red, it's Red. And then one day I'm like, let me write out all my favorite songs from each album and see how many I have for each. And 1989 had the most songs. So now it's my favorite.
I like skipped that album.
That's a really bad choice.
I know. I listened to Red, and then I did not give Reputation as much credit as I should have when it first came out. And then only this past year, I'm like listening. I'm like, oh shit, this is like badass bops.
Yeah. It took me a while to get into Rep. When she released like Look What You Made Me Do, and I'm like, this is like weird, doesn't sound like Taylor.
Yes.
But then it grew on me, and I'm like, this album, Delicate's one of my favorite songs now.
I love Getaway Car and I Did Something Bad. Like those two when I'm in the car and if I'm just in a mood or I'm just like driving fast, those are like what I put on.
It's the move. That album is so good, but I can't believe you skipped 1989. That's a bad choice, Julie.
I'll listen to it again. Well, that album's like about Harry, so I gotta go back.
It's so good. All you have to do is Stay, Style. Like there's so many hits on that.
Yeah, all you gotta do is Stays. Is that your favorite one off the album?
Yeah, I think so.
Taylor, I'm excited. I feel like we'll have another album from her in 6 months.
I hope so. So I did like Lover. It was definitely like lower down on my favorite Taylor albums, but I did like it a lot.
I wonder if we're going to get Loverfest or Folklore for a tour.
I'm hoping it's Loverfest because I don't want to go to the Folklore tour. No offense to anyone who wants to go.
No, yeah. I think I would rather Lover on tour.
Yeah, it's so good. Cruel Summer Live would be...
Yeah.
Imagine that this summer would have been so good.
She should have just done like a stream or something in an empty parking lot.
I'm surprised she hasn't done a stream because a lot of people I'm seeing, like we were talking about, like MGK, Youngblood, I think a lot of people are going on like these virtual tours, which personally I'm not into because I feel like I'm just watching YouTube and it doesn't do it for me.
You can just wait till someone records it and puts it on YouTube and then you don't have to pay the money to watch.
Exactly. I'm like, I was thinking because I also love the Aces, who are like a smaller kind of all girl group, and they did like a virtual tour. And I'm like, I've only seen them once because they only had one album, but they just dropped a new one. And I'm like, do I do this? And I'm like, it's just not the same. And they're like, we're doing virtual meet and greets. And I'm like, I don't want to video chat with you.
No.
Like I want to hang. It's just not the same. Like I know everyone's trying to like do all this virtual stuff. And I'm like, but it's the move right now because it has to be, but it's not what anyone wants to do.
No, I agree. Like going on I just imagine going on a Zoom with your favorite artist and just like one-on-one and it's like, hi, this is my bedroom.
Yeah, everyone, you've been home, I've been home, like what are we going to talk about?
Yeah, you can't tell me anything that I actually want to know. There's no interaction. We'll take a screen record of the screen and we'll move on with our day.
Yeah, I'm not into it. Gotta say, not into it.
Me either. Well, I really appreciate you coming on this podcast.
Of course. I've always wanted to be on a podcast. Always my goal, like to be on one and to have one. Because I listen to Scrubbing In with Becca.
Oh, yes. And Tanya.
It's my favorite thing in the world. So I've always wanted to be a guest. So I was so excited when you asked.
Oh my God. I'm so honored that you got to be the first podcast.
I know. I don't know if I'm going to re-listen to it because I hate hearing my voice, but I hope everyone enjoys it.
Oh, I'm never going to listen to a single episode that I'm putting.
I was going to say, did you listen to the first one?
Oh, no.
That is so funny. I know Heather's listening to it like I'm the star.
110%.
I'm going to listen to Heather and Andrew as soon as we hang up because I really want to hear theirs too. But I won't be listening to this one, but I will listen to the next.
Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you, everybody, for tuning in again. Please subscribe. You can also watch this on YouTube, so give it a thumbs up. And if you want to purchase some Fangirl Fantasy merch, the link is in the description. Thank you all very much.